Well, happy Labor Day. Good morning. I guess whatever time you happen to be watching this, but we're filming this on Labor Day morning, and it's the third week of the Coach's Show with Coach Will Compton. Special guest this week is Kenny Settles, a senior defensive player for the Hippos, and we'll talk to Kenny here in just a little bit because he made a huge play, very instrumental play in our ball game. But Friday night, huge win over Liberty Hill. The number, depends on what you look at, but they were in the top five ranked team in the state of Texas in 5A, and obviously last year finished as a state finalist. I don't think I told you this, but I looked up their record over the last 9 years, and their record coming into that game was like 97-25 over 9 years. And now it's 97-26. And you know what? 3 of those losses in those 9 years have come to the Hippos. Wow. We've beat them every time we've played them in the last 3 games. Yeah. So, but obviously a tremendously exciting ball game, one that the Hippos really played really well and kind of controlled the game till the fourth quarter, and then we'll talk about that a little bit. Thank goodness that their gas tank started full before the game, because it surely got up to empty, got down to empty by the end of it. But before we kind of really talk about the game, I want to just get your feel, and Kenny, yours too, for just first home game here at the newly renovated Hippo Memorial Stadium, or Hutto Memorial Stadium, and just kind of coming out and pregame and the excitement. You know, it was our freedom game and getting a chance to shake hands with some of those folks. But how did it feel for both of y'all? You know, obviously, Coach, your first game on this field, just coming out and kind of taking it all in and pregame.
You know, it was awesome. You know, being able to be home, and you know, our schedule's a little bit different whenever we're at home. You know, we got out, came down, got a game day lift, and then you know had our meal, and being able to come out on our field for the kind of our walk-through time. You know, it was just kind of a familiar place. And then you know, as the fans started coming in, and you saw the veterans and the first responders start showing up, it gave it a great atmosphere as far as for a Friday night football game. So it was just you know, overall I was just excited and you know, nervous and just ready to you know, make sure that we put a good product on the field.
Nervous is good, right?
Yeah.
And nervous is, if you're not nervous, something's wrong. Yeah. Kenny, what about you? Obviously, last year you guys didn't get to really play a home game here. We played that one game. But as far as a true home game experience, first time in 2 years to get to step out on this field, how'd that feel?
Exciting. It just felt like a different atmosphere. It's different from playing away, and we have more fans, so it just felt way different.
You know, my perspective obviously is up here in the press box looking down, so I can't get that full effect. But from some pictures and videos I saw, it looked like our home side was pretty packed.
Yeah, it seemed like it. I mean, it was, you know, like I said, the freedom game, and I mean, we had people out, and so, and you know, we just, you know, after coming off that win off the San Marcos, you know, there's a little buzz, and so people are excited to come out and you know, spend the night at a ball game.
Kenny, how does it feel when you have that student section, the Herd? They named themselves the Herd a few years ago, and they're a rowdy bunch, loud and kind of crazy. But that has to feel good to have your classmates and all your fellow students behind you guys.
Oh yeah, for sure. They brought the hype, they brought the juice, like what Coach Comp would say, and it just felt great.
Brought the juice. I like that. Brought the juice. You know, one of the things that I think is neat about the freedom game is when we introduce all of those veterans and first responders and active military folks before the game, and then when you guys come off the field and you get to shake their hands, and the players get to shake their hands, and you know, how does that? You know, obviously you're here to play a football game, but at the same time you can take a moment and kind of reflect on who those guys are and what they do, and what does that mean?
You know, I thought it was, you know, it was the first time obviously for me doing it, and you know, I thought it was a great way for our kids just to, you know, to be able to shake their hand and say thank you.
Yeah.
And you know, you could tell that they're, you know, they were appreciative of the kids, you know, taking the time to do that, and I think that's something that took maybe 3 minutes, you know, as far as walking through the line and going through and shaking hands, but have a lasting effect, and you know, let them know that they're appreciated and they're valued.
You know, one of the men whose hands you shook, the man that was in the wheelchair. So I don't know if you know, but that's the dad of our Hutto fire chief, Scott Kerwood, who's our Hutto fire chief. But his dad in the wheelchair actually fought in the Korean War.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and he is one of – I looked this up. There were over 6 million Americans that fought in the Korean War, and it's down to less than 500,000 of them that are still living. So, wow. You know, I don't think the players, and obviously you guys, didn't even know how special that was to get to shake the hands of a man who fought in the Korean War.
Oh, that's really cool. I didn't know that at all. And so he just said, he said we're growing big now. And that was it kind of put a smile on my face as I was getting ready to head in.
Yeah, that was pretty special. Well, the Hippos come away with the 56-49 win. Let's talk a little bit about that. Got off certainly to a great start. I mean, it was a game of offense, but defense is something that ultimately maybe saved the Hippos. But offensively, let's talk about that. You know, you kind of had a little bit of a rough start. Both teams did, with a couple of fumbles on those first few possessions. Some of that, I don't know, maybe that's nerves or what, but seemed like the offense then settled down and just picked up where they left off against San Marcos the week before.
Yeah, we kind of shot ourselves in the foot in those first couple of series. You know, Will breaks a long run down the sidelines and just doesn't have the ball tight like he needs to, and you know, fumble right there, and then come back the next series, and I believe we go down and we score. Then the following series, kind of a bad run mesh. He goes to pull it, and JJ goes to kind of clamp on it and get ready to run. Ball ends up on the ground, and so you know. That and mixed in with a couple false start penalties that were just uncharacteristic of us and the discipline type of football that we try to play. After that, Coach Leonard and the offensive staff and offense players obviously got it rolling, and we put our guys in situations to where we wanted the matchups that we wanted on the field, and able to execute and score some points.
And I think we have to talk about the defense, especially in the first half. Liberty Hill comes in. Nobody ever stops them, right? It's that whole thing of you're never going to stop them. You hope to just kind of slow them down. And I really felt like we did a great job of slowing them down in that first half, held them to 14 points, a couple of turnovers, and just really seemed like the defense was doing all the things they're supposed to do to defend that slot T offense.
Absolutely. Coach Mullins and staff did a great job of coming up with a game plan to where Brody and Trey were able to kind of roam free and make tackles. So Brody ended up with 26 of them, and I believe Trey ended up with 17 or 18. Yeah. And so credit to the defensive line. They held double teams, and Park coming off the edge was big. We had those two first half turnovers that were crucial. Anytime that you can take possessions away from Liberty Hill, it's always going to end up in your favor. One we got a fumble, and then we fumbled right back to them.
Right.
So it's kind of a wasted possession there. But obviously the defense played lights out, especially in the first half, and then the second half. They just kind of wore us down. It's not characteristic for a slot T team to run 80 plays. Yeah. And I mean that's just offensively. We kind of talked to Coach Mullins kind of with our little flybys as we're walking down the sidelines, and I was like, hey man, we just got to go score, and we got to do it however we can do it. He's like, man, we'll do the best we can holding up on defense, and and that was kind of the thing. We knew that our offense is not one that likes to slow down, and we don't play well when we're in that slow kind of matriculate. Where we want to go fast and we want to try to take advantage of a situation, try to hit a big play, and we do that. I mean, at least we're still 14 points ahead.
Keeping that 2-score at least lead.
Yeah, kind of put our defense in the bind. Got some guys get extremely tired, and but overall, I was really, really proud of the guts that they had, because I mean they were stepping it back out there each time and doing our best. We had some alignment issues, and then obviously after this stud over here runs like I don't know from here back to
Pflugerville.
Pflugerville on an interception return.
Yeah.
We had some guys that were out and sickness going around and things like that, but overall our guys held up really well.
Can you talk a little bit about before we talk about your interception? Talk about just prepping for a team like Liberty Hill. They run that crazy slot T offense that you don't see that against anybody else. You're not going to see it the rest of this season. But just when you're getting ready for a team like that, what's in your mind? What are you guys focusing on? There's so much discipline, I guess, on defense that's required for guys to really stay where they're supposed to stay and keep your eyes on that ball, which is hard to do sometimes the way they kind of move it around.
We just had to flow, tackle everybody. Shout out to the scout team. They did pretty good for picking it up because Liberty Hill, they practiced that over time, but the scout team got it and we got good looks.
Did they once the game started? Was there anything about that once you got out there and you saw them actually doing it where you're like, okay, this is exactly what we practiced for, or were there any things that were like, oh, this is a little different from what we were expecting?
It was pretty similar. I would say the one thing that got us was that pitch pass. And That's one thing that really got us. Yeah.
Yeah, we talked about that during the game, how well, they do that. They only throw the ball 3 or 4 times a game, but almost every time they do, it's a deep pass because they work you methodically with that run game, and then they suck you up, and then some guy gets behind, and almost always that's what they do.
Yeah, it was 2 double passes,
Yeah.
that got us. They ran the toss pass for the first one, and corners coming up, and some miscommunication right there of who was supposed to stay with the deep route, and then same thing on the other one is the jet sweep pass, and so it was corner came off of it whenever he saw the jet sweep get handed off, and came off of his receiver, and 2 big plays right there, but those are to me, when they're diving into the double passes and things like that, especially in the first half, they're kind of reeling just a little bit.
I was gonna say that means things are probably going your way because that's the game you want. You want to have such a lead on them that you're forcing them to throw the ball.
Absolutely,
because that is certainly not their strength.
Absolutely.
And as it turns out, so third quarter, we're up 40. I think it was 42 to 28. I think at the time. So we're up 14. And they're driving. They're down to about our 30-yard line, and they try that pass deep. So Kenny gets it, catches it. I think when I was making the play-by-play call, as soon as you caught it, I was like, go down, go down. You guys probably were too, right?
Yeah, I was.
It's like, just go down, all right? We'll get the ball at the 20. And once you brought it out, talk about that. So you bring it up. You take it from initially down their sideline, that far sideline, and then you come all the way across the field. Then you turn it up, and you had and shout out not only to Kenny for what he did, and you ended up running about 160 yards. We called it a 103-yard interception, but it was about 160 because you ran 50 just across the field. Mm-hmm. But not only the job that he did, but he had blockers the whole time. He had blockers down the side. He had blockers as he came across the field, and he had blockers once he turned it up on our side.
Yep. Kids were hustling around, and that's the type of stuff that we talk about. One of our big things that we talked about last week was being unselfish, that it was we over me. And in that type of situation, you're going to be excited for Kenny getting his interception, but it's also, every one on that defense was tired, but they're all out there trying to give their best effort so that, obviously Kenny can get a score right there. I think the funniest part, there's 2 funny parts on that interception that I do want to talk about. The first one is Lolo Anderson. He's down there. He's one of our corners, and here comes everybody, and Lolo just falls on the ground and makes the guy hurdle him. He doesn't want to block him because the guy's big, and that part.
I wasn't sure if he did that on purpose or if he slipped, but it sounds like he did it on purpose.
He just fell down and made the guy step over the top of him. And then the other part, I have to get you in there and show you the film, is that the referee de-cleated Coach Shaw. Coach Shaw's jumping up and down, and right about the time he jumped, the referee pushed him to get out of the way. You see Coach Shaw fly over to the side. And so those are 2 things that I was, obviously I'm telling our coaches to get back, but I
guess we're lucky we didn't get a flag for sideline interference.
Man, there were so many people in the way of the officials. That's just, in that excitement type thing, you're not expecting, even from there, I'm like, hit a knee. And then he comes out, and me and Coach Mullins look at each other and like, oh, all right, here he goes. And so, and then being excited about it. So it's a fun time.
Good on those officials not to throw the flag there.
Absolutely.
Because it sounds like they probably could have within the rules of the game. All right, so as soon as you pick it off, is your first thought, I'm taking it out, or did you hesitate and think, maybe I should take it, go down, or?
Yeah, I hesitated. Then Gomez, he waved me out to go block, so I said, okay, I'm going.
Here we go.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so just take us through your run.
So I got up the sideline, and I was like, man, that's probably it. I'm probably going to get tackled at the 20. Then I break that tackle from Noah Long. Then someone comes in and just tries to take me out. I was like, oh, I'm still up. So I just cut it up. Then I had blockers, and I was like, okay. Then I had the 2 people down there. I was running towards Lolo. Then he just falls. I was like, oh, man. Then shout out Brody and Trey. They come up out of nowhere and just were blocked, and I cut it up, and I scored.
All right. At what time in that long run were you thinking, I'm tired. I don't know if I'm going to make this.
Probably about halfway. Probably about halfway. I was tired. I was close to the end. I was about jogging. Couldn't breathe.
When you're making a huge play like that, and of course the crowd's going crazy, do you hear that do you hear the crowd and all of that excitement and your coaches and everybody screaming and yelling, or are you just so in the moment in your own head that you're focused on the end zone?
I don't hear anything. I was just running. Didn't even hear anything.
Yeah. And then you just ran off to the track and just fell down.
Yeah, pretty much. That's what happened.
Did you cramp up?
No, I didn't. Cramp up.
You just had to like
breathe,
take a quick nap and get your breath.
I tried to go out, but started cramping up.
Yeah, and then it was like, now you got to come back and get back on defense again.
Yeah.
I think you were entitled to a playoff after that. But a huge play. I mean, again, we talked about how important offense was in that game, and we're at that point you've scored 42 points, but here they are. Literally, if they go in there, now it's a 7-point game again.
Right.
So instead of a 7-point game, now it becomes a 21-point game again, and huge, right? And we talked about what just a momentum killer for them. What a gut punch for those guys, because now they've gone from, hey, we're about to be right back in this thing, to, man, we're going to have to score 3 more times just to get this thing tied up.
Yeah, absolutely. And then right then, I mean, you're pressing towards the back end of the third quarter, almost into the fourth. And so time isn't in their favor. And so, and the way they do their offense is, they have that huddle, and then they quick break the huddle to the line of scrimmage. And so, what we did majority of the game, I don't know if you noticed, we did a lot of substituting.
I did.
And
that was genius.
And so we had talked about it as a staff that, by rule, you're allowed whenever they bring somebody in from the sidelines, you're able to match it. And so with us only having, 4 or 5 defensive linemen that were going to roll in, it was a great opportunity. We'd wait for that guy to get to the huddle, and then now we'd roll our guy out there, knowing that we were kind of in that play rotation of substituting them anyway. But it allowed us to, take another 5-6 seconds off the clock and, let our other guys kind of breathe for just a second as they're letting our guy get off the field and things like that. And so that was kind of by design, to try to set it up and buy our guys a little bit of breathing room.
Tell you what, y'all might have done something that some other teams they play along the way are going to pick up on, because that, to me, that was absolute tremendous coaching to think about doing that. When you are going to do that, do y'all tell the officials ahead of time, hey, just FYI, we're gonna be rolling guys in, so y'all stand over that ball?
And we talked to them. Obviously you talk to your officials pregame about different things that they do, and that was one of the things that I was like, they bring their play in from the sidelines. I was like, we want the opportunity to be able to match personnel, and they're like, obviously, coach, when they come in, we'll stand over the ball, and then once he gets to the huddle, your guy has to be coming out on the field, and so that's what we did.
Yeah. Play clock obviously didn't work the entire game. And we'll get to the end of the game here in just a little bit. But how big of a difference or what impact does that make? Because I know there's an official, back judge is probably hollering out time, right? So at least part of the offense hears that. But you guys as coaches, y'all don't always know how much time is left on the play clock, do you, when the clock's not working?
No, and and it doesn't matter for us offensively. With the tempo that we try to go at, it doesn't matter until
you're trying to run the clock down.
Until you're trying to milk it all down, and then now you can't tell. And I mean, all he was giving us was maybe a hand up at 5 seconds. So I mean, we're sitting there kind of blind, and you just don't know. I mean, we're calculating off the clock and figuring out how far down we can go and things like that. We had communication up with the press box, and they're talking to us, and then headsets went out for a second, so didn't get that communication, and so felt like a bunch of math teachers down there trying to subtract 40 out of everything every time. But it didn't really, for us, it didn't matter that much until the very end.
Right. The you're talking about subbing in and the ref stands over the ball and all that. So this is my thing. I've always said that's a rule they need to change, is when that official, when all that subbing's going on and they're standing over a ball and a play clock is still clicking down, I feel like they should pause the play clock until they're set, because defensives can come in, and if they do that at the last second, they can force an offense to have a delay a game or have to use a timeout.
Yeah, we did it a little bit versus San Marcos, because they were holding their huddle on the sideline. They held their guy that was going to come in, and they were holding their huddle till it was about 15 seconds, and then sending him out there to try to slow us down at the beginning part of the game. And so, then he gets there. It's about 12 to 10 seconds. So now we're able to sub our guy on.
Yep.
And, they're having to snap the ball. They actually had to call a couple timeouts in the San Marcos game. And so, I thought that's a benefit to us. Now, obviously, if you don't have the, if you're going to sub your personnel, you better sub it quick.
Right.
Because it'll backfire on you if they match your personnel.
Yeah, there's a lot of chess that goes on, right? It's not all checkers. There's a lot of chess that gets played among coaches in football as well. Okay, I have to ask you, are you by nature, or do you consider yourself, are you a gambler? Are you a chance taker? The reason I ask that, there's a couple of times going for fourth down and kind of fairly deep in our own territory, and is that you're a gambler, or is that hey, I have confidence in our offense, they're going to get it, and if they don't get it, I have confidence in our defense that they're going to get a stop?
It's kind of a combination, especially when you're facing a team like Liberty Hill, is that, you have to steal possessions or continue possessions, and there was a couple times where I think we were on our own 20 where it was 4th and 1, 4th and 2, and I told Coach Leonard, we got 2 downs to go get it. And, obviously, we've talked about it before with our analytics. We have a little chart kind of there on the side that talks about, where we're at in the game and this and that. And so we're looking at it. And so a couple of those times, Coach Matthews, who does our book for us, he's like 4 yards. So if it's 4th and 4 or less, then we're going for it. We already know that on first down. And so kind of changes your play call and let you know when you can go for it and when you can't. Then one time we take out the punt team. Tim, they don't rush Tim, and so Tim takes it down the sideline. That was
huge play.
That was all on him. That actually was not a fake.
I was going to ask. He has the freedom to do that. He
does. We've talked about it. When those first weeks when we were setting it up, hey man, if nobody rushes you, obviously just keep on running. And he rolled out, nobody was there, and next thing I hear myself screaming, I'm like, run! And he takes off down the sideline, and big 11-yard gain right there to continue a drive for us.
Yeah, that was plays like that. I think oftentimes are the thing. Those aren't in the stats and all of that. But, I guess his is. You can see he had 12 rushing yards. He's probably your average. He's your leading average guy for yards per carry.
Yes, best by far.
Yeah, but no, it's one of those things that I think when you start going back and dissecting games, little plays like that make so much difference and can turn a game, right?
Absolutely. I think anytime that you don't get off the field on 3rd and long, or they convert on 4th down. Those are 2 situations where it just kind of demoralizing for the defense. You're thinking, 3rd and 15, we're about to get off the field, and they hit a big play, and then now they get to stay out there. Those are things that, wear you down and, wear you down mentally as much as they do physically.
Kenny, what does that do for you guys? Y'all are standing there. You're on defense. You punt teams out there. Y'all are about ready to go on the field, thinking you're going to have to get out there and get a stop, and then all of a sudden Tim makes that run and gets that first down. And as a defense, that's got to give you a little reprieve and fire you up a little bit.
Yeah, makes us, we get more, like, we're calmed down now. We don't have to go out there and, all right, we got to do this and do that.
So I think we talk about all the weapons that you have on offense, right? 7 different people scored touchdowns in that game if you take Kenny's interception return. But now you got Kenny and Hollenbeck now that probably both want the ball on offense too, right?
Yeah. Tim was he was booming before the game. He was prior to the game, he knocked down a couple 55-yard field goals.
I was standing out there with you when he was doing that.
Yeah, absolutely. he was – I didn't know how far back he was until, I got up there and talked to him. He's like, Coach, that's 55. And he's like, I tried 60, but it was a little short. And I was like, well, that would really be the gamble to try to kick a 60-yarder. But I do feel that we are going to – I think he's going to get the school record this year, which is – I looked it up. I think it's 53 yards.
I think that's right.
And so I definitely see him getting a 55-yarder this year.
That's
a little
awesome.
tail win.
Yeah, I think that school record, I'm trying to remember who had it, but I think it happened against Georgetown. Yeah.
Is it Haynes?
Score.
No, I think it was Jared Haynes, but I think somebody beat it. Against in that Georgetown game. Anyway, but yeah, hopefully Tim will be able to set that record. Are you begging for playing time on offense now that you've shown you can run the ball?
I've been trying since the summer. I've been trying.
Oh, have you really?
I've been trying.
How can they hold you back now? Look what you did.
I know.
We'll have to get him over there. Let him run a jet sweep or something.
Right? Only once the game's really secure, though, because we need you on defense.
Yeah,
right?
absolutely.
We need your energy. We need your energy on defense. So, all right, let's get to let's kind of get to that fourth quarter because it got crazy. Game seemed like in control after that interception return, all that. We're up 21 points, and I think we get to about 9 minutes left in the game. And I think we were still up 49-28. I think we were still up 3 scores at that point.
Yeah.
And you as coaches probably are not feeling good because you never are until that last zero clicks off. But as we're announcing, we're like, hey, this is it's not over, but you can feel a little better than you could against a team that are usually fast scoring teams because a running team like that generally they're not gonna.
Yeah.
But man, they started churning out the yards, and like I said, I think we just ran out of gas, right?
Yeah, there's a lot of plays, and they started attacking us over on our defensive right side. They're running to their sideline, and it was just kind of a combination. They hit some plays right there. They hit a big long run, 45-yarder, and then we're able to score, making it a 14-point game. Got the onside, now to make it a 7-point game. Just some miscues, really more than anything else. I thought our kids were still playing hard. We got to make those open field tackles in the hole where we're supposed to make those, and just keep on fighting. And that was the thing that we talked about. We talked about in our leadership meeting this morning. What can we do in those situations? And it was kind of one of those things where, man, they just they started attacking us. Kind of where we were the weakest at that point. And we just got to keep digging in and going back and fighting another play.
And then you feel that momentum start to change a little bit, and you feel them starting to get some confidence, and then it's just kind of like hold on. And again, now we go back to the clock thing. First of all, I've never seen a fourth quarter just take because you're just like, come on, clock, run, and every time you look up, there's still 8 minutes left. Like, come on. But all right, so we get down to they score, cut it to 56-49, try an onside kick. That one they don't get. We recover, and we're like. I think at that point there was about 2.5 minutes, and I think we're thinking, okay, they had all 3 of their timeouts. Mm-hmm. If we can get 1 first down, we should be able to seal this deal, right?
Yeah, I think it was like 1:58 on the clock.
Yep,
somewhere right in there. And,
so you run a play, and then I think on the next play, Will keeps it and gets the first down. And you're like, okay, I think we should be able to, because they had already used one of their timeouts on the first down before he got the timeout. So now they only have 2.
And so on that one, after we got the first down, I was surprised they didn't call their timeout immediately. They let it run down, and we just stood there, and I was going to take a delay of game.
Yeah.
It didn't matter to us. We were just trying to, we had the first down. We were just trying to milk the clock out right there. They let it run down to 58 seconds, I believe, and then called the timeout. Mm-hmm. And so, we're sitting there. I think it's second down at that point by the time that happens. And so it's second down, 58 seconds. We're coming off they called their last timeout, and I'm like, we're good. 58 seconds, 2 downs. We're gonna be fine. We have a scenario where it's like a delayed clock. Where Will kind of scrambles around a little bit and hits a knee, and so Coach Leonard told him 5 seconds. So he scrambles around kind of 5 seconds and then hits a knee on second down, and then now we're looking at it. We don't have the clock to kind of gauge us, and Will doesn't have a clock to kind of look at to see that don't snap it till 2 seconds. So third down was the one that we really messed up on because we snapped quick and he hit a knee quick.
Real quick.
And, that would be a time to where, looking back at it, it's something you don't rep, and talk about a whole lot as far as, how to take a knee to milk a clock, to get out of a game. I didn't want to run the ball because I didn't want to risk a fumble or something like that in that scenario. But third down, we did the quick knee. And so we're looking at it, and there was 5 seconds difference between the clock and the 40-second clock. And so, we told Will it was just miscommunication with us. And again, that comes down to, coaches and kids getting to know each other and things like that. Coach Leonard yells out there to Will, 2 seconds to tell him to snap the ball when there's 2 seconds left. Will's thinking burn 2, like in our delayed clock. And so just kind of a miscommunication all the way around right there. And he hits the knee. And, me and Coach Leonard kind of just look at each other. We're like, oh, and, it was
and what we wondered is if it was possible that there was a confusion on what down it was. because
the box still said third down.
It did. It said third, and I'm saying on the broadcast. I'm saying it's fourth down. The box says third down, but it's fourth down. And so when he took that quick knee, I was like, I wonder if they thought it was third down, and taking that quick knee like that. Because you even saw, if you look at the film, I'm sure you have, before he takes that knee, the Liberty Hill guys basically they just didn't even rush him.
No.
So it would have been easy for him to just run around and burn that last 2 seconds.
Yeah, he could have just stood there until the referee, because nobody was rushing.
Right.
And, and that's, it's something we've already addressed and we've talked about, and I believe they repped it today. Just if we are ever in that situation again of how to, chew that clock up and things like that. But it was, frustrating, but obviously defense came back on the field and was able to make a stop, and, then we were all jumping up and down. And
well, yeah, I mean, and obviously people thought the game was over, and then they had to kind of clear it and go, okay, no, they still have one more play. All right, so that happens. Everybody thinks the game's over, and now they're calling defense back over and like, you guys got to still make one more play. What'd you think?
I was like, I'm not letting it go into OT. I don't think any of us wanted to go to let it go into OT. So
right,
we're just trying to play our hardest on that last play.
And they, they throw that pass, and of course we had it well defended, and then you're just hoping there's no interference call at that point. It's like no flags.
Yeah, I was hoping. I was actually glad they threw it. I was like, man, just don't run that toss play again.
Seriously.
Which flipped the situations is probably what I would have ran. I would have just ran the toss.
Yeah.
It's something that we hadn't stopped, especially,
in the fourth quarter.
Yeah, in the fourth quarter, and so that's what I would have done, and just took my chances on a play that's been, chunking down the field instead of doing something that we don't normally do. But they threw it up there. We had guys in the area, and so good play by us.
Yeah, and I have to think had they completed that, I'm sure they were going to go for two. They weren't going to go OT.
Yeah, they had the momentum right there. I mean, pretty much you got to go for two, and with their offense, 3 yards isn't just a whole lot for them, and so that would have been tough situation for us.
We would have repeated 2017 whenever we had the 52-51 overtime game down here, but fortunately we didn't.
Yep.
Hippos came out with the win. It got a little exciting and a little dicey at the end, and I think as fans probably tend to focus on, oh my gosh, we almost lost that, blah blah blah. As coaches, I'm sure you guys are like, hey, we have so much positive. You're gonna build on the negatives too, right? You're gonna learn from that, but so much positive to take away from a game like that, and what you did offensively, what you did defensively until the fourth quarter, and I'm sure there was a lot of good things to talk about, right?
Oh, absolutely. And it didn't really sink into me till, I don't know, maybe about 1 o'clock in the morning. I'm watching the high school extra, the coaches show, the Dave Campbell's one, and I didn't know they were number 3 in the state.
Yeah.
I knew they were, a top 10 team. But that goes back to, our focus this week was not about, we're playing a top 10 team. We're playing a top 10 team. It was more about, here's what we have to do to be successful. And,
right.
The same approach when we go into this week. We're not talking about Steele. We're talking about us. This is what we need to do. And
right.
I think if we take that approach, then the moment's never too big for us.
Well, let's talk about Steele because, again, another top 10 team and a 6A team and another storied program. I think they started football. They opened their school, I think, in 2005. And except for that first year, they've made the playoffs every year since then, including they've played in a state championship game as well. And so let's talk about them. Beat Lake Travis this past week, so a big win for Cibolo Steele. But how it'll be a completely different look offensive wise what they roll out versus what Liberty Hill does. So what's the scouting report on them?
They're big. That's the first thing I looked at, as far as when they got out there, is that they are some large humans, and they're very similar with the way they look to Vandegrift. As far as this big offensive line. Got a good running back, that they kind of lean on a little bit. They did a quarterback change in that first game. Went with a sophomore. He's a little bit more athletic and gets out on the perimeter a little bit more. And so, they're not real fancy. What they do, they just kind of line up and maul you. And then defensively, they're not a big blitz team. They just kind of, line up, and they have some big defensive tackles and make you try to walk it down the field on you. Don't give up big plays. And so, overall, they're just a very sound football team.
Kenny, what is for you? You have a great game Friday night, and then how hard is it to turn the page and move past that and the excitement of all of that and say, okay, now I got to start watching film and getting ready for Cibolo?
We celebrate for 24 hours, then it's time for work.
Is that kind of a team rule? Get 24 hours
I think
to celebrate it. And
it's a good thing. You do want to celebrate. You do want to be happy about
Sure.
a victory, and so give yourself 24 hours, and after that, it's time to start moving forward.
Yeah, how do you in today's day and age of social media and just highlights everywhere and people heaping praises and all of that, people tend to want to talk, not players, not coaches, but everybody else wants to talk about big wins for 5 days, right? How do you, as a coach, make sure young people move past that and do start focusing on the next job at hand?
I think it's just, I think your kids will focus on what your coaches focus on. And, all the way around, from the head coach to the position coaches, if it comes down, Sunday, you start getting the scouting reports out and things like that. We're not still talking about, Friday night's win. All we're talking about is, hey, we're doing this for Steele. We're doing this for whoever we're playing that week. And, the mindset's kind of changed. We came out to practice today. I don't think anybody talked once about Liberty Hill. It was just about, all right, here's our new opponent. Here's what we need to do. Here's what they like to do. And so the focus is just, week by week. And I think if we do that, we're just going to try to be 1-0 this week. Puts us in the right situation.
Mm-hmm. Kenny, what are in your early watch looks at film for Cibolo? What are some things that you've noticed about them?
They're a good team, but I think we'll be fine. I think we'll be fine.
Well, that's fun. That's a great challenge, right? To play a team like that. Here early in the season, you're not in district play yet, and this is a great opportunity to get a preview of the kind of opponent that you could face in the playoffs.
Absolutely.
Right?
Absolutely.
Because you're gonna see a bunch of them.
It'd actually be. I hope we see them again. That would be a fantastic thing because they'll be coming out of Region 4. We're Region 2, so that means
that would mean
we were in the show together.
That's right.
So that'd be a great to see Steele twice this year.
Absolutely, 100%.
That means that we did something right.
Absolutely. What do okay? I got to just away from this game a little bit, but just a question for you. So when it's football season, obviously you're consumed with getting the Hippos ready and all of that. But do you watch college football, NFL games any, or are you pretty much just all focused on Hippos?
No, Saturday usually I watch college football. I don't watch a whole lot of NFL football. Again, they're still in preseason, so it's a bunch of people that I don't watch very much. But no, every Saturday I'm going to watch Notre Dame. That's my team.
Thought that they were going to pull off an upset.
I was hoping, man.
Yeah.
I was hoping. So I've been a fan of Notre Dame since I was a kid.
Is that right?
Yes. It's what came on TV.
Yep.
And I didn't want to go for Tech, being in West Texas.
Right. Yeah, I know. You've made that clear to me.
No, and we went to a lot of Tech games,
Yeah.
because my dad got in free being a coach. And so, Notre Dame was always my team. And, so I watched them. And then I watched University of Houston, UTSA. Love those coaching staffs. And then I got a couple former players that play for University of Houston, and so it was fun to watch them. Those are the two big games, and then we have family in town this weekend, so kind of got away, celebrated my son's birthday, and all that type of stuff.
So now this Saturday you can watch Tech because they play Houston.
Yes.
Plus Tech now has. I mean, you've got a guy who has lived and breathed Texas. I mean, he is the biggest champion of Texas high school football coaches there is.
Absolutely.
Right?
Him and Jeff Traylor.
Yes.
Two guys that have done a lot for Texas high school football, and so seeing them get the opportunity at the Division I level is great for all of us coaches, and they do things the right way. So I'm a fan of Tech. I like Tech. They're just not in my number one wheelhouse.
We'll keep working on it.
Yeah, I like to tell my friends, you can only have one best friend. That's what makes them the best.
That's true.
So you can only have one favorite.
Kenny, what's your plans for next year? What do you hope to do? You want to play somewhere?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. You have your heart set on a certain place or a hope for a certain school?
Not yet. I just want to play football.
Yeah. Have you been talking to any programs yet? You've had a couple offers, haven't you?
Yes, sir. One.
Yeah.
Yeah. Southwestern.
Yes, sir.
Yep.
Keep playing like you did the other night and week one and all that. You're going to have a lot more going to come your way. What do you like to do on weekends?
Relax.
Yeah. You watch college football?
A little bit.
Yeah.
I watched the U of H and UTSA one.
Okay. That was a good game. That was a really good game. Did y'all watch that game last night, that LSU Florida State game?
Yes.
That was crazy.
I mean, LSU walks it down at the very end and then gets the field goal blocked.
Uh-huh.
That would,
As a coach, can you imagine?
man, that feeling right there would probably be like taking a knee with 2 seconds left.
That's
it would probably be a similar feeling.
Except for you won, and they didn't.
Yeah, definitely.
That's one of those where you might say, okay, you know what? We're just going to go for 2 every time.
Yeah, oh man.
Forget this kicking stuff.
That would be heartbreaking.
Yep. Well, it was a crazy game. Crazy football. Well, it's a fun time of year, obviously. High school football on Friday nights, college on Saturdays. I'm like you. I'm not a big NFL guy. I keep up with it just because I'm in fantasy football leagues. But other than that, give me high school and college football all the time. There's a certain purity about it. Kenny, good luck this Friday against Cibolo Steel. It's going to be another challenge. Get your rest and be ready to come and go 4 quarters because I'm sure those guys are going to bring it.
Yes, sir.
Yep, and you're in much better shape now because of that 160-yard run.
I hope so.
Coach Compton's in much better shape because he had to climb the stairs to get up to the press box today because our elevator went out. Yeah, we had a Austin American-Statesman reporter after the game got stuck in the elevator, which I think I was telling you before we went on. You might start telling your coaches to take the stairs instead of the elevator at halftime.
Yeah, they may be a little angry when I tell them that here in a little bit.
Well, Virginia Tech this past weekend in their game, their coaches got stuck on it for like 20 minutes, and they had to delay the game. So I don't know. Would they delay our game if our coaches got stuck on an elevator?
No, they wouldn't.
Yeah, just college.
Yeah,
high school we haven't reached that. Yeah, tell them to at least have some radios or something with them in the elevator so they can help you out from in there. All right, Coach. Well, a great win Friday against Liberty Hill, and certainly a great game or huge game in terms of the opponent coming up this Friday against Cibolo Steel. We want these stands packed again this Friday night, and I think it makes a difference, doesn't it, Kenny? When you're playing with your home fans and those folks giving you that kind of that extra little bit of energy that you need to finish some things off.
Yeah, it just feels like a different type of energy.
Yeah, so we need folks to show up and bring that, and then obviously if they can't, then you can watch just like people have these past couple of weeks on watchthehippos.com. All right, 7:30 Friday night, Hippos versus Cibolo Steel Knights here at Hutto Memorial Stadium. For Coach Compton, for Kenny Settles, I'm Todd Robinson. Have a great week. If you're watching this on Monday, happy Labor Day. Enjoy your day off. Thanks, Coach. Thanks, Kenny.
Thank you.